What's going on, guys? We're back. We're a little late. Retraining is as retraining does, Mama used to say. But we're back for the next episode of A Tale of Three Dragons, our Pathfinder Gestalt game, featuring the two greatest, most powerful, truest warriors you'll ever meet in your whole life, Tiki and Ross. Thank you guys so much for your support on Patreon. We're going to jump right in. Basically, like where we left off with the party narrowly escaping the clutches of a dragon turtle and arriving in Tangma at the outskirts of the... Oh, I gotta look at my map. I want to make sure I don't pronounce this badly. The outskirts of the Sikhyeu Rainforest. The party is traveling to Rainforest, hoping that one of the sorcerers there, the master of Kijang's School of Water, can cure them of their afflictions. Will they? We'll have to see. For now, I'm going to grab this D6. I'm going to throw it there. And I got a 3, so odds is Tiki for in-character reflection for that hero point, if you would, sir.
I think Tiki's won the past 3 times.
I have, actually.
Good, well done. Yahtzee.
It's not, it's not
Yahtzee, it's go to jail, but...
Well, actually, it's more like, these are the problems of being an accelerist. I'm always first.
Got them flash probs.
So, her thoughts right now are, I can't believe I lost a gift from the monastery. She's fuming. But... lines... We have to get through this forest. I know there would probably be an easier way through the channel, but I guess these are called jungles, would offer us a better chance of getting more healing materials for Tarask's potions. And truthfully, with how painful this poisoned wound is, we likely will need them, especially if we're going to keep coming up against as strong of monsters as we have yet faced out here. How do these surface dwellers deal with all these monstrosities?
Says the Drow Noble. It didn't even cross my mind that this would be an entirely different bit of terrain for Onru. Knowing Darklands, then Monastery, then Darklands, now you're in a rainforest. So that'll be fun, and take that hero point. Don't gotta roll now. Second place is first loser, but we still like you, Ross. How you feeling?
Well, a bit insulted now that I've been called the first loser, but you know, it appears to be charm for the course, and a bit happier out of character now that we've done that retraining for Tarask and kind of got some things fiddled around and fixed, and
we're
not as obnoxious.
Looking at a wizard cleric now, right?
Yeah, wizard cleric changed around from Scion. It's not that I disliked Scion, it's that wasn't using it as much, and I could use the cleric a lot more, especially the herald color cleric archetype that I'm using, which, as Tommy here already knows, is nasty.
It's real good, yeah, very good archetype.
Well, plus we're us being down to 2 plus,
plus us
epic horse.
Yeah, us being down to only 2 players, or well, Chase, come back, we love you and miss you.
Yeah, Chase.
Come,
being
join
down
us
to 2
on the
casters,
east side.
It does help to have somebody that's does help to be able to spontaneously cast summon monster and have
something attack that isn't you.
Abilities and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
But it is what it is. Really, I'm just happy.
I guess when I said how you feeling, what I should have said was Tarask's in-character reflection for the hero point. Guess that wasn't clear.
Yeah. No, I was gonna run with it. Tarask feels as fine as he can be, really. He does not like the fact that he got attacked by a giant, freaking giant sea turtle creature thing,
Bowser.
essentially. He got smacked around by Bowser. We're not very happy with Bowser right now. We're not on speaking terms.
You need more beer!
Exactly. Tell him, Yuli. But for the most part, it's just been kind of like a, God damn it, it's just been kind of him muttering that to himself. Yeah, I realize, but it is what he's saying. And, he'll say that, then he'll knock himself on the head and be like, that is not the way of Kishong. And then he'll just kind of go a bit further and go like, yeah. And then he'll just knock himself on the head and be like, that is not the way of Kishong. It's just kind of that sort of like thing where he's just like, almost just like,
Fair enough.
he's just kind of like, oh gosh, darn it, head hurts, need to focus, think.
And you're trying to become a man of the cloth. Oh.
Yeah.
I am a man of the cloth. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you both are technically characters of the cloth now that you've been made kind of impromptu formal, like full members of the Kumijinja Monastery. Also take that hero point, Ross. And we're not going to get super in-depth with it, but you guys, though there wasn't a ceremony, you would know that all of the monks of the monastery are held to basically like the generic paladin codes. Don't commit an evil act, don't use actions that could harm an innocent, act with honor, don't cheat or lie, and respect the lawful like authority of the land. Of course you won't like lose your class levels, but as members of the monastery, you guys have access to any non-magical, not super expensive item pretty much at will. They'll help you craft stuff. You have a place to sleep, you have a place to live. You don't have to worry about like feeding yourselves, among other things. But I don't think anyone's slipping to evil anyway anytime soon. So now we enter the Rainforest.
There's some great summoning prestige classes that require you to be evil.
Yeah, and you don't get to play them. Not this time. Well, you mean you can. If you guys want to, like, just now we're evil. Oops. I'm not going to say no. I'm going to say...
That would be a really messed up
No,
story.
if we TPK, that'll be different. I mean, I want the next game to be in...
Play
next game... Yeah, next game to be in the
must be
Underdark.
honest, I don't know if I could survive being an evil player. I'm just like, as a person, that's like, I don't know.
That's fair.
Well, here's the thing. You don't necessarily have to be evil if you're in an evil place. I mean...
Fair. I might just be neutral. Just be like, eh.
Yeah. And you can be evil and not be, like, a degenerate, also. Anyway,
yeah, I know.
So you guys enter the Sikhyeu Rainforest, and as soon as you guys cross under the canopy, especially like for honor, because this is, though like rainforesty places certainly exist in the Darklands, they exist like at the bottom. So this is brand new. It's like stepping into a gigantic plastic bubble almost. The combination of like all of the humidity, all of the like the heat, the rotting vegetation, putting off more stuff. It's unbearably hot and humid. Would you two and also Hero make a fortitude save?
Sure.
D20 plus 7, please.
Is there... I'll take care of rolling for Onru, as long as I know what I'm rolling.
Crap, that's not good.
I rolled a 6, but fortunately for you, I still haven't got down rolling the D20 in Fantasy Grounds and making it count. Oh, now I rolled a 4. Okay, fair enough. And then
Farron is a 20, so that's a 4 with a D20. Farron did better than I did. And
classic.
Where's Hero's sheet? I know I have that somewhere. So many tabs open. Still, retraining and moving to Fantasy Grounds does not equal the easiest transition for poor Omac.
And by the way, thanks so much to Doug for the free Fantasy Grounds. I haven't had a player not like it so far, except for when the RNG killed the Doomsday Dawn squad. Then they were upset with you specifically. But other than that, no, it's been great. If you could just make sure my players roll higher than 3s. Too. Oh, nice, fair enough.
Speaking of freaking 3s, that's Hero.
That's Hero. Okay, so everyone who's not Farron fails this. So as you guys walk in, it's like I said, it's unbearably hot and humid, and to get to where that square is that you see Onru's token at, it takes you guys probably about an hour of walking. And by that point, you're fatigued from just like the sheer sweat, not like working. Like you're sweating your butts off, but it's too wet, it's too humid, there's no wind. It is painfully uncomfortable.
When we first entered the jungle, she would have gone over to the trees to inspect them to make sure they weren't. This wasn't a mushroom forest.
Fair enough. Okay, here's a nature check. What do you add? If anything.
Plus 10.
Plus 10. Okay, so yeah, the trees they're not mushrooms. They're definitely trees. Though there are certainly also, like, at the base of every tree that you're moving through, there's a lot of flora and fauna that you've never ever seen in your whole life. Some of it, like, there's definitely fungus down there, but it's all different colors, different shapes, different sizes. Like I said before,
If you'd like to know the fascination with Anru has with mushrooms, is that her noble family were actually in charge of the mushroom farms.
nice.
Yes.
This place is, like I said before, there's birds, flora, fauna of all shapes and sizes exist only here in this rainforest. It's absolutely stunningly beautiful, but also super hot. Anywho, I suppose Mac will be the one who is driving the car today because Tiki's driving the truck right now. But you see Anru's token,
Super
you see
hot.
the grid. Each one of those squares represents 2 hours of travel. There's a lot of it is several, especially for Hero because he's bigger. A lot of it is backtracking. A lot of it is like going up and down, picking over like routes that are bigger than Tarask is. Things of that nature.
Super hot.
It's not super cold. Maybe next game. Next game will be in the desert.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of sad because I preferred the cold.
Yeah.
Oh.
There's a game called Super Hot, so
Super
Yeah.
hot. And Mac, you got the steering wheel. Which direction you want to move? Let me know. I will unmask.
First major question, really, I think that we need to worry about. What direction are we heading? Do I need to roll like a geography or something for that?
At this point, you guys would definitely need to roll survival because you can't see the sun. You can't see it's very fortuitous. Both of you have dark vision. It's like low light conditions now in the middle of the day sometime. Determining north is not a hard survival check.
Alright, so this is my survival.
Okay,
+9.
you
So
can.
19.
I'll roll for honor as well. I'm just going to set this d20 here. Oh, now it took it. Okay, so you've got a modified 20 from Anru, so both of you can determine that south, which is the direction you want to go to get to Remparasad, is straight down. The map is like,
Okay.
you determine it like where Anru is like at north.
Actually, you should have, if you wanted to be thematic, you would be doing that the opposite way because the maps in China, south is the north side, is the top of the map.
Oh, well, excuse me, everyone, while I invert everything really fast.
I know, right?
What direction do you... Yeah, I guess for now we'll just continue straight on south.
Okay, can you make a survival check for me?
Sure.
And Anru will roll as well.
+9.
Skills,
And go, there it is.
survival.
Okay.
Ugh.
It's not a
Fine, I
fumble.
got the
The 11 is not a fumble, and Anru has in the 20s, so you guys are able to find which direction south is, and then I'll need, remembering that you guys are fatigued, 2 more hours pass. Can you make some more fortitude saves for me? It continues to be really, really hot.
+7.
Okay.
+7 from...
Natural 20 for me.
Well done. Well done. You've done it. Damn it. Why can I not? There we go. And we've got a 12 from Anru. Right? Yeah, I'm good at math.
Farron has a 4 to 4. Farron wasn't fatigued to begin with. He did succeed the first roll.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
This is for Farron.
That
That's a
one doesn't
12,
succeed.
so I presume he's now fatigued.
Right.
All right, and then there's a +5 from Hero.
Okay.
Oh,
So
gosh,
everyone
I
who's
need to
not
stop
Tarask
rolling.
failed, but Tarask has a natural 20. So what happens is, as you are able to determine which way you need to go, and you make your way south, and it just gets progressively hotter and hotter. There was a natural 1 rolled at the end of last session, so it's around this time that Tarask and Anru realized that somewhere in the dragon turtle fight, a lot of your supplies have fallen into the Gulf of Shidao. So a lot of the food and water you guys are going to need to be coming upon is going to, you'll need to find it here in the rainforest. And, you get hungry, you get thirsty, you get sweaty, it gets real bad. And then with a natural 20, Tarask, there's a quick burst of divine energy from our new cleric as It's not a casting of Ender Elements, but it's a casting of Ender Elements for basically that square. Everyone is removed of the fatigue, and it resets for everyone as you make your way through for just a little while. It stops feeling so unbearably hot and terrible.
Cool.
And now I need a perception check from everybody.
Oh boy. Okay. So,
Man, I come so close in games like this to banning Ender Elements. Because it just shuts off everything. That and Goodberry. Anyway, I'm going to throw a d20 at the board.
Plus 10?
Plus 10. Damn it. There it goes. So we got a 25 from Anru, an 11 from Tarask.
An 11 from Tarask. Hold on. Farron's going to save the day, because Farron is good at this sort of stuff.
Farron's the one with the eyes. And that's
yeah, Farron is the... Yeah, Farron's kind of the...
Nice!
That's a 30.
Okay.
Farron.
So you guys begin moving through. Oh yeah, hero needs to look around too. Hero could crit or fumble. Could be the hero or the villain. I hate that pun. I'm so mad at myself now. Alright, fair enough. So the only person who doesn't see this is Tarask. And Tarask doesn't see it because Tarask is a little lower to the ground than everybody else. You begin moving through the jungle, and it's... Farron's flying, Anru's up top, and you begin to pass through... It kind of looks like a village, but it's just too small for much of life as you know it. It's up in the trees, in little like where a branch might fork, or where like say lightning might have struck a tree somewhere. The houses themselves are, the best way I can think to describe it, to be honest, is about the size of my computer desk. It's little huts. Little one-room huts that look to be about sized for a toddler. Tarask could fit in if Tarask, like, Gandalfed his way into the Hobbit hole, for lack of a better way to say it. If he were to, like, duck down, he could fit in and be kind of comfortable. Anru is just entirely too big, and Hero is out of the question. Farron, of course, being a tiny creature, could fly right in. The village appears to be abandoned.
Alright then.
Knowledge Arcana and a Knowledge Nature, both of are a plus 10.
Is there... So, damn it. Go dice. There we go. Alright, 13 Arcana, 25 Nature. What is your questions?
Basically trying to figure out what would have made this particular type of house.
Okay, fair enough. With an Arcana check, it's good.
You might also want to consider that my Knowledge Natures and Knowledge Arcanas were learned in the Underdark, so DC's probably higher.
It is. That's fair. Okay, so it's not uncommon in the Darklands for something like Svirfneblin, and even smaller things like sentient fungal creatures like myconids sometimes live like this in like real tiny houses. Certainly whatever creature made these houses all around you, it would have to be pretty damn small to exist in them. Also, they're like... Tarask can look up if he's told me. Like, oh, there it is. But they're probably like 5-6 feet off the ground in these trees. And you guys, one thing you don't see is you don't see ladders, ropes, any form of egress up and down, basically, which would imply to Anru that like whatever lives here has to have some kind of way of moving up and down the trees. That could be from the Darklands. You'd think something like creatures with climb speeds exists, or creatures like beetles that they could ride, or slugs or things can move up. Other than that, though, it's pretty foreign. There's no definitive, definitely.
Does she kind of... I'll roll for myself as well.
Okay.
She'd share the knowledge.
I'll roll the Knowledge Nature.
Alrighty. Make it so. 22. Okay, so it's untrained, so you can only get up to a 10.
Wait, it's untrained?
That's what.
I should be trained in it.
Oh, okay, fair. It's trained, and then you've done very well. And Tarask has heard of another one of my homebrew rules that I didn't bring up here, but I'm going to bring up now because now it's relevant, that in my campaigns, Gripply are considered tiny creatures. Because if you look at their table, they're literally like a foot tall. And this is probably what you've come upon. They're up in the trees, and Gripply they're anthropomorphic tree frogs. So it stands to reason that the little fellas would build up in the trees to avoid the myriad predators that certainly exist in a place such as this. That knowledge and interest is pretty good. You'd also know that here in Tangma, a lot of the humanoids that live in this rainforest are a little less what we would come to expect in the rest of the world. They're a little more tribal. So when I say Gripply, Tarask can infer like a more like prehistoric almost. These guys, though you don't see any here, it's as if the village was up and deserted. You would expect like spears made of bone, sharpened sticks. The creatures are naturally poisonous, so that's probably used as well. Probably maybe some kind of organized language, but certainly not Tien. If there was an archaeologist in the party, or like more of like an explorer-y type, this is definitely pretty fascinating, because again, it just looks like they up and left.
Just gonna kind of look around before turning back to him, Anru. Well, I believe they are, and I'll say the name again because it eludes me what you said right quick.
Gripply?
Yeah, Gripply, okay. The name eluded me, not it itself.
Gotcha.
Seems as though this is the location of a Gripply village. Small little creatures. Anthropomorphic frogs, essentially.
Frogs?
Yeah, like, you know, the little reptile things that hop around on two big legs, big back legs and smaller forelegs.
You mean the things I collect to get their poison?
Yeah, they have the really long tongues.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're kind of like that. I'm not certain. Perhaps some sort of common ancestor there. Perhaps the gods divine some frogs. I'm not certain. I look around. But they're an old race. Pretty ancient, from what I understand. They're not my field of expertise. Although it is curious why they just left, for all intents and purposes.
Could I actually see any reason why, as in like there are signs of battle, anything like that? And survival check would be a +9.
Sure, we'll do. I can get that dice to go. There we go. So we've got a modified 20 on that check. As I accidentally grabbed a thing I shouldn't have grabbed. There we go. On a 20, it looks like they just up and left. Is there a battle? No. There's no bodies lying around. There's no like broken weapons or anything that might indicate the village had been raided or something. But what you do see is like anything that would have held food has been taken. You don't find any weapons lying around the village, and certainly there must be, because as you guys move through the jungle, you definitely, though they don't come find you, you hear the sounds of big scary things moving around out here. That would seem to imply a couple of things. It could either mean like the Gripply have gone to another place for like some kind of seasonal based ritual. It could also imply that they might have left to like perhaps their lifestyle is a little more nomadic. The buildings, they seem permanent. They're not like tents or anything. You're not going to knock them over. But this time
Spring or summer?
Yeah, pretty much. Right now it's summer.
Okay, it's spawning time.
It's a logical conclusion.
Yeah, I guess kind of we would both kind of come to that conclusion. Either way, we should be careful. No telling what they might do.
Well, plus we don't want to disturb any of their homes. We should continue on.
Indeed.
Because if they are spawning, it's likely they will return.
And if they're spawning and they find out their stuff's been messed with when they come back, they'll likely be pissed.
Well, yeah, but we're also the monastery. We wouldn't be messing with their stuff. Let's go.
I'm saying that more so as in, okay, I just kind of like, it's not where I was going with it, but sure.
But that's where we ended up. Okay, so it's around this time as you guys begin. First off, perception checks or survival checks. Andre has a +9. Roll, damn it. These numbers are good, but they're not going in the RNG, and has an 18, so Onru is able to determine which direction is south. So technically no one else has to roll. Onru can go first.
Okay.
As you guys are moving
Because
through...
then I'd have to go drag through 3 sheets to figure that out.
As you guys are moving through, it begins to rain hard. Pretty much out of nowhere. It's almost a complete whiteout. You're able to move through. It's the rain actually is a bit of a relief because it's relatively cool, but it's not long before you guys are just absolutely drenched by this storm that picks up out of nowhere. And a couple hours down, you continue moving. Pretty much as you get to the next destination, it ends as quickly as it came. Am I correct to assume you continue moving south?
Yes.
Alrighty.
However, I would actually look to Thrask. You wouldn't happen to have picked up the gust cantrip, would you?
No. Well, actually, if that's a wizard cantrip, that means I technically have like all of them in my spell book.
Mhm.
Or no.
Yeah,
Well,
but you didn't. You would have had to prepare them.
I don't have it prepared now. Unfortunately, that's not one of the ones I prepared. I more so, I did
Would have been
prepare.
really.
I
Would have been
prepared
really.
mending ahead of time.
It would have been really nice with us as wet as it is to have the breeze to help keep us cool.
Alrighty. South you
Uh-oh.
go. And you don't really see a lot of this as the storm kicks up. But as you began moving south, the village did track south, and the farther south you got, the more little hovels in these trees basically begin springing up. And the farther down you go, it starts to come to pass that they kind of look like rope bridges, but they lack the support up here going from tree to tree in such a way it's almost just like a ladder at a 90-degree angle. Eventually...
Are Gripply's intelligent?
Yes.
I would actually sit one of my last, what do you call it, sunrods up there because I had kept one behind.
I am such a stupid person.
Why?
I am a cleric. Why haven't I been high-fiving everyone and being overly aggressive with hugs?
Yeah, you got a guidance, all the things. It works here. Anyway, the ground begins to tip down a little.
Yeah, I leave them as sunrod.
Okay, sure. The ground begins to tip down a little bit, and it's not long before you guys come upon... I gotta move this token. Bam. And I gotta share this map, because things are happening now. Sharing, preload image, sharing, share sheet.
Oh.
You come upon a little... almost like as if like a gigantic, monstrous being's foot had just down in the jungle. A pretty big depression in the ground where water has pooled. And this seems to be where the Gripply have made their homes. There are bridges running across, not unlike what you saw in the rainforest, which you're still...
I'd like to roll a Godzilla check.
in a sec. Gigantic bridges across little platforms made of stone running across the first fresh water you guys have seen in several hours. As you guys get where you are, most of the Gripply, you guys can see without a perception check, have been backed into a corner as several about the size of Churask creatures that they kind of look like anthropomorphic turtles have them cornered with just as tribal as they seem to be, spears and bows pointed at them. There might be some bit of a conversation going on in the far end, but it doesn't really sound like a language so much as it just sounds like turtles and frogs making noises at each other. That's how tribal these guys are.
Can I roll linguistics to try and see if I understand any of it?
Yeah, you can.
All right.
I also have linguistics.
Okay, I'll throw a d20 at the board.
Ugh. 16.
Plus 11.
So 23 from Onru. Of course, Farron understands it because Farron has true speech.
Oh, yeah.
But so Farron can catch bits and pieces of looks like these creatures here have... I almost tripped on that one. It looks like the turtles have arrived in force to run the Gripply out of a water source. And that's what they're arguing about now.
I'm going to down my my speed tincture.
Okay.
And these people have live here. Their homes are being invaded, and we're part of the monastery. I'm running in to attack the
I'm just
turtles.
gonna kind of like grasp onto Nalru's shoulder before she does that and goes, "We don't know the full story yet. Just
Um,
perhaps not strike first."
we are of the monastery. We help people from being routed from their homes. This is their home.
Mage armor's on you.
Yes, sir. I assume there's a mage armor on you as well, as why it was cast twice.
Yes,
Okay, understood.
but I was just letting Tiki know that mage armor is on him.
So one thing I will note, for the sake of for Theater of the Mind Tiki and for Ross who can see things, the Gripply, the smaller token, indicates a single person, but you see the turtle creatures have a much, much larger token. Each one of those tokens represents about 20 dudes standing in really tight formation.
Are we able to tell any idea of what language they might be speaking?
With the linguistics
rules?
checks, it's like a tribal dialect. There's no like rules as written language, but it kind of sounds like their own racial tribal like a tribal Gripply as opposed to the Gripply language itself, because these guys are so far removed from civilization living out here. At the moment the turtles haven't seen you. They seem more concerned with the Gripply they have backed into the corner.
Do we have any reason to identify either one as like evil or anything? Or
You can make a knowledge nature check.
Sure, I think.
Or
that's,
no, for you, a lot of knowledge checks would work. Nature's obviously the best, but history would grab it. Religion would not. Arcana would not.
I'll just go with nature.
Fair enough.
God,
A 15 is good enough. A 15 is good enough. Tarask recognizes the creatures as Kappa. They are usually known.
How many Kappa?
Lots and lots and lots and lots. The bad guys are Kappa, essentially, in this situation, from like what you guys can see. Well, the aggressors, I should say, not the bad guys. These creatures are usually known to just be like not friendly. Friendly is definitely the wrong term. Like, not aggressive pranksters, but just kind of like live under a bridge and they might knock you in the water. Sometimes they'll drown you. Sometimes just like they happen to be skilled wrestlers. It's definitely out of the Kappa's wheelhouse to be this organized and this aggressive, though. They're all small creatures, so these guys are about the size of Tarask. They're hunched forward a little, so Tarask probably stands a little taller. But Andrew's sort of like they're all like knee high.
Diplomacy still might be our best bet, but we cannot just stand by.
I'd walk forward, lighting my scythe.
Okay.
Spin it, basically making sure the fire would actually make sound enough to be noticed.
Sure, makes sense.
And then she'd hold it out to her side.
Yeah, I guess Tarask will also kind of just like gather himself together.
All right.
Just like, whistle behind him to summon, to have Hero follow behind him on foot.
So you guys are probably about 100 feet away, and there are several bridges, several gaps in, like, again, it's as if a kaiju had just stepped down and made a hole where water could gather from the rain. You're quite a ways away from them, but like a couple of the Kappa, they turn and they see you, and Farron understands it as more of just like a ah, but to you guys, it just kind of sounds like maybe Aquan, but a very, very primal, very tribal, not exposed to the rest of the world dialect as they do turn. They're not aggressive yet, but they do get a little closer.
I'm going to just walk down slowly.
Okay.
Not really aggressing so much.
Alrighty. How close do you want to get?
Probably within 20 feet.
Okay. We can do that. At that point, all of the, like, a group of Kappa you approach, they all lower their weapons pointed at you, and they continue just kind of, like, making scared and frightened noises, basically. Well, scared and frightened and aggressive.
Could I actually try to use linguistics to pantomime sharing?
You can. And boom. Damn it. Go.
It's plus 11.
You never. I keep rolling well, and then the RNG doesn't take it. Okay, so with a 7 plus 11 is 18. You get the idea across. Point at water, point at them. You cap a big circle. Happy family. But they don't seem to care. They just, like, in response to this, there's a little more than rickety. Certainly stable, but there's no support on either side. It's just, again, kind of like a ladder tipped over sideways, wooden bridge, and these kappa begin moving towards you, still just like... At this point, Farron, who's close enough, can understand that they're basically just barking at you to leave. This is their business. This is their territory.
Can I basically speak through Farron?
Yeah, of course.
I'm gonna kind of speaking through Farron say, "What is going on here?"
Alrighty. Throw a diplomacy check at the board.
Yes, sir. I am glad I took this.
Yeah, this is real good. Diplomacy is important. Okay, so
19.
You say this, and the speaking through Farron, I didn't put a token of him on the board. I wasn't thinking about it because oftentimes
That's fine.
I'll target
He's just
hero.
close enough.
I'll target hero. I won't target the familiar unless the familiar does weird stuff. But these guys all see a flying cat thing that they've never seen before, and quickly they all just kind of a mixture of fear and awe and reverence. C-3PO in Return of the Jedi, basically. The Gripply, who also, like, they're speaking a tribal dialect. They just like Farron can understand, just Cat God speaks in one big bassy, despite their size, voice as their cheeks come out, and they like almost begin like bowing reverently to it. Meanwhile, the Kappa, who are kind of ignoring the Gripply at this point, and get a little closer to you.
Upon hearing the cat god speaks part, Farron will like float down and kind of just like come to rest on Tarask's shoulders.
Okay. The Kappa begin. Is Hero where Hero is on the board?
I don't feel safe like having Hero go onto the bridge.
That's fair.
You know?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So, but I don't want Hero far away from us.
Hero has a 70-foot movement speed.
Yeah,
Hero
nothing's
will
far
just
away
be
from
behind
that
us.
horse.
Yeah, no, Hero will just be behind us, kind of.
The bridge does seem to support him as he moves across, in the same way that it does support like 30 Kappa moving at the same time. And they, addressing the cat god, just, "This is our land. Frogs have taken it, we take it back. You leave, or you die." They all, spears lowered.
If it gets passed along, I'd sit here and spin my scythe, making sure to light the fire up. I'd spin it like supernaturally flash fast.
Sure. Okay.
Tarask will hold up his hand, kind of like towards you, Henri, like, okay, calm. Kind of like then gesture. He'll be very clearly talking to Farron, you know, like, even though he doesn't need to. It will be very clear he is communicating with Farron. And Farron's like talking to him. And then Farron will turn to them and say, why do you seek this land?
Give me another diplomacy check.
Okay, I'm gonna fail one of these soon, and then combat's gonna start.
Not quite yet.
22!
Okay, so you throw that down, and the Kappa speaking it fair, and just, "Our gods demand we take back sacred places of water. We need them." And like they bend down, one of the lead ones bends down in your direction, and this is probably news for Onru, but Tarask would note that Kappa all have a little like miniature crater in the top of their head where water from their home river is stored. There's a bajillion of them, so sometimes it's a valid strategy to like knock a Kappa's head and the water will fly back and they'll be stunned without it. But there's so many of them here that that's not a valid strategy. But if that water up there came from the water down here, they technically have a right. As they're saying this, one of the Gripply they're all pretty timid in the corner, but one of them does move up a little and just, "Please, the Kappa have killed all of our warriors. We cannot resist them! Help us! Little, like, the thing is barely a foot tall, as it, like, it has to jump and, like, wave its arms. And it's a pretty damn good jumper to make sure you guys can see it.
Oh,
Looking down to Tarask, ask the Gripply if they stole their water instead of asking to share.
did they simply come to conquer you? I say, like, I'll have Farron say just like, no diplomacy, simply, this is
Just
ours
asking the
now.
question. Okay.
Yeah.
So the Gripply nods its head so fervently as it's jumping that it somersaults a couple of times because it doesn't have a neck, really, so to speak. So to, like, nod, it has to almost bow, and it's still just trying to get your attention, and whip, and lots of acrobatics. This is our sacred spawning grounds. The Kappa have no say here. They come, they kill our warriors.
I'll turn to the Kappa.
He continues to
ask,
loop that.
Yeah, I'll turn to the Kappa at this point through Farron. The water from which you claim to be your home, is this your home, or is it another place?
It is our home. Our gods demand it. At that, some of the Kappa with, like, these crappy bone spears begin, like, beating them against the ground. And there's a big cry from the ranks of warriors as the phrase, our gods demand it, comes out.
I'll just kind of, like, look around. Farron will yawn.
I think they need new gods.
Farron will yawn, and then just ask, and how may we speak to these gods of yours?
One more diplomacy check.
Okay. 15.
15. You may speak to our gods when you die! Roll for initiative. So Anru is first. Anru at the top of the round. There are, again, there's about 30 Kappa pretty much right in front of you. They're like 5 feet would put you in threat range of. There's another group that's behind you about like 30 feet away across a bridge, and there's a couple more groups of Kappa behind the first.
Iron Hand Stance
Okay.
gives me a +2 shield bonus.
Nice.
What is the mage armor that she put on me? Or
+4.
Tarask put on me?
+4 armor bonus.
+4, so that's a +6. I'm at a 28.
Okay.
Nice.
I had already taken. Actually, no, I'm at higher because my dex is 4 higher, so 30.
Nice.
So the leader that was making the initial things, I would run in and initiate Flurry Strike.
Okay.
2 +13 attack rolls to his head area.
Okay. So you can make a 5
D10
foot step and get in threat range. Let me make the attack rolls real quick.
Okay, actually, there'd be more hits then.
Okay.
Because that's actually going to be a flurry, not a flurry strike, rather.
Okay.
So flurry is the 2 at a +13. I'm going to spend a momentum point to make it a third strike at a +13.
Okay, so hang on. Before you give me anything else, we've got a 15, which I think hits. Does 15 hit? 15 does hit. 15 just hits. So the natural 12 will do much better. Then the third one at 13 is a natural 17. All 3 of those connect.
D10 +10, 3 times.
Nice. Okay. So I'm going to put this D10 here and I'm going to click on it. 2. So 35. Oh, dice. Still trying to figure out how Fantasy Grounds works. And Chris explained this to me at Doomsday Dawn. I can't quite roll. There we go. You don't kill the Kappa because there's a template involved. But what happens is Anru moves forward, spinning her scythe, and in the 3 hits, several of them are cut down, and the rest of them turn tail and take off into the rainforest. Several of the Kappa, there were about 20 or 30 in that group, and as you spin, probably like 10 of them dropped as your scythe comes across a bunch of them. The rest of them just throw their hands up and like waddle run as fast as they can the other direction. Anywho, there's no more in your threat range, so now it passes to my turn. Kappas are going to move, what's my speed again? 30? 20. Okay, so I'm a little slower than I thought it was. 5.
Yeah, slow races move slower.
They are 15, 20.
It's all about that leg span.
Yeah, it is.
I would, if a free action, if you allow it to Tarask, should I allow them to run? If not, they're coming back for these Gripply.
Let us deal with their god first.
I'd rather just deal with them and let them talk to their gods directly.
They are too organized.
So what
These are
happens
not
is
regular kappa.
one of the back ones has to double move to do this. And it definitely provokes from everyone who wants to use an attack of opportunity, but there are so many of these kappa with this template that they do end up occupying your squares, as they basically just, you guys are on a little like island coming out of the water, and there are a couple of bridges at a 90-degree angle, and they run in and surround you. Some of them, as they begin tearing into you, they definitely, several of them begin tearing into Hero specifically, and Tarask would note that Kappa tend to have a tendency to like horse flesh. So before anything else happens, there are 3 attack of opportunity. I don't know if anyone has combat reflexes or not.
I do.
Okay, so then it would provoke it would provoke twice from Anru, as 2 are moving through her square. The other one moves up 2.
I'll take each one of my attacks of opportunity.
Okay. The first one is a natural 18. The second is a natural 17, both of which connect for 2d10 plus 20 still.
Yeah, 2d10 plus 20.
Okay, so max and minimum. So that's, this one takes 20, this one takes 13, fair enough. And they just tear into you. Well, not yet. Hero would also, it provokes for Hero, it provokes for Tarask as well. Because they have to enter your square.
Hero will use it. Hero will go for a hoof. Since it's a 2 hoofs, does it do both, or is it just one?
Just the one.
Okay,
Yeah.
forgive me, I'm not good with natural attacks.
So good.
Alright, so this is only a +2
Yeah, because there are some creatures that roll 1 attack roll and get both damages, so...
So that would be a 6, because I presume he uses his strength, so this is for Hero. That's a natural 19.
That hits.
So he does, let me just once again check. 1d6 plus 4. Nice. 4. Oh, that's not, whoops. 2. So that's 6 points of damage.
Okay, understood. As these guys go to tear in, Hero, as heroes want to do, kind of just leans back and kicks. And definitely one of the Kappa falls. It's probably like 20 feet from where you guys are standing into the water, and it just like Wilhelm screams off the side as Hero just nonchalantly. It would also, Tarask would get one as well. If Tarask wants to take a swing.
Okay, I'll take a swing.
That hits. 21 hits. For 7 points of damage. Okay.
You're using Umezawa's Jite.
He's getting 2 1/1 counters. So that means that doesn't quite disperse one of the troops, but one of the troops gets pretty messed up by Anru as it moves through, and then like they're about at size for you, so it's not hard to like get a Jite and like come down on a Kappa and knock its water out, and it gets real like, and then you just blap it on the throat and it dies. Now, at the end of their turn, these guys, as a troop, they don't attack. They do automatic damage to everything within 5 feet of them or in their square, because they're technically a gargantuan creature, but they're a bunch of small creatures. So this damage is automatic. D3. I need 3 of those plus this. So all 4 of you, Farron, Hero, Tarask, and Anru all take 11 damage. As like you can defend, you can block 1, but then the other 5 with their claws and their primitive little bone spears and their their beaks. And Farron goes back into your imagination.
Gosh darn it!
28 HP left.
Is there? Tarask, you're up. Hero goes on your initiative as well.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, just making sure about something right quick, because I got to. Oh, I actually have more HP. Since I'm also a cleric, that also increased my HP.
Why, yes?
Well, I am peeved. First things first, Hero is also peeved because he likes the Kit Kat. He likes the kitty kitty. He thinks the kitty kitty is amusing to him because the kitty kitty can actually speak to him. So he's just going to try and whack some more Kappa.
A 15 hits.
It's a 15 hit?
You got him.
Alright.
For 10 damage.
That's 10 points of bludgeoning.
Oh, Hero. Okay, is he full attacking or does he just kick?
Back. Yeah, he's full attacking, so that's another attack, isn't it? Because it's 2 hoofs.
I think you have a bite as well.
He does. Like I said, I know it. I saw like it was the 2/2 for his hooves, and I was like, okay, so I guess for if he's like full attacking, he does both.
He would do 2 hooves and a bite. Yeah, he could do all 3.
Okay.
So he's
That's
done
another...
17 and 23
he's
damage.
doing that on the group. That's to the east. Huh?
Understood. Okay, so then you've got a bite left.
Yep. So he will bite at them.
A 13 does
13?
miss. The 13 misses. So a lot of them get dispersed as this happens because some of the Kappa outright just drop their weapons and run up and like latch on to Hero and start actively eating him alive because horse flesh it's Kappa like it a lot. That and cucumbers. It's weird. Kappa don't make sense, but that's how it is. And bits of his flesh, bits of his hair torn away, and he rears back and he kicks a couple of them, and a couple of them fall into the water, deader than dead. And he tries, like, as this happens, several of them back up, realizing that their meal is a little stronger than they've come to expect. And he leans in to try to bite one, and it turns fast enough to where he bites turtle shell, essentially. And that's his full attack. What's Tarask got? Before Tarask acts, blah, blah, I should note that there are a lot of dudes around you, and they're about your size, and they're actively swinging at you. So to be able to stop and concentrate to cast a spell will require a concentration check.
Yeah. I don't think I'm there yet. Plus, I actually have some melee skills now that I have the decent weapons.
And you have a better BAB now, too, as a cleric, don't you?
Yeah, I actually do. It's a +3.
Not bad, not bad.
Yeah, or no, it's a +2, and then my dex is like a 4, so that's +6 by default.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Juditai is a +1 magic one. So I'm just going to continue wailing on this one troop to the group to the right.
Okay, understood. And 19 hits.
5 points of bludgeoning damage.
Now I'm going to let you, now that we understand how troops work, flavor that kill, Tarask.
Upon seeing Farron just kind of disappear, Tarask just slowly looks over to one Kappa as he swings. Tarask just kind of sidesteps, grabs him by the throat, sort of lifts him up, because Tarask, I imagine they're smaller than a bit, not the same size as Tarask, and Tarask does actually have a bit of strength to him. Lifts him up.
Is, I think we have... Oh, usually it's at the back of the beast here. Like, it's about this tall, but it's a small creature likened to like a humanoid turtle. So it might be... I imagine it weighs a little more than you do because there's a shell, right?
He'll just grab it by the neck, lean in, kind of like, like a rat would, and then just like fool up and bring up the club down into the hole of the water of like the Kappa. Just like completely like shoving his weapon down into the hole that they keep their water in, like jangling around inside of it, like just to full on mess with the guy, and then just snap the neck with the blunt end and just kick him over the edge and just kind of stare at the rest of them like, who's next? And
at that display, the Kappa retreat into the rainforest. I'm so used to being able to just press delete.
It's nice to be able to actively survive in melee.
Yeah, must be nice. All right, top of the initiative, it goes to Anru with Kappa all around her. Several dead. Several laying.
How many groups?
There's 2 groups.
How many? 2 groups. 2 strikes at each group, spending a momentum.
Alrighty. So it's a +13?
Yeah, they're all +13.
All right, so that is a natural 14, and so both of them, both the attacks hit on the first one, targeting each group. I think that, depending on how well you roll, that's enough to...
2d10 plus 20 for those.
Right. Okay, so that's enough to break one. I think it breaks the other 2. Done it. Yeah, you rolled an 8 and a 9. Okay, so you want to flavor that kill. 2 groups go scattering into the jungle.
Liming my, what do you call it? Victims that I have with fairy fire, I use the cutting edge of my sides to behead them, and then use the backside to bat the heads into their fellows, basically using the heads of their of the Kappas as projectile weapons to knock them in the face.
Nice. And it works. Water and blood and brain matter goes everywhere, and the rest of the Kappas, seeing the martial prowess of warriors, the likes of which don't really exist in the Sikhyeu Rainforest, take off running. The Gripply are overjoyed. They move in your direction, all of them hopping fervently. Problem is with Farron gone. It's a little hard to understand what they're saying.
Yeah.
They seem to be happy. They're confused. They don't see Farron, but you've run off the thing that hurt them. And they like that.
I'll just, like, as they're kind of, like, looking at me confused, I'll just hold up a hand and kind of just, like, gesture to my shoulder and then gesture upwards. It's like Farron has gone up there. And then point to myself and kind of, like, at that point, I'm going to channel energy.
Okay, fair enough.
So...
Nice.
Hey! Whoa!
That's max.
That removes all the wounds we took, too.
That it did.
For both of us or just you?
For all of us.
It's channel.
It's
Cool.
channel energy.
Everybody gets better. Some of the group are a little wounded as well, and they heal. You point at shoulder and then up, and some of them interpret this as the creature has died, and they get real, like, mopey and sad. And
If I'd see them sad, I'd use my linguistics, which is plus 11, to try to pantomime that he'd be back.
Okay, so that's a fumble. A lot of them don't understand what's going on, what's happening. You try to pantomime it, it doesn't go through. And again, it's around this time that the sound, as you guys can still hear the Kappa retreating, and you hear the sound of, like, it kind of sounds like a war horn. It kind of sounds like a conch shell that's been converted into a war horn. Across the rainforest, as something monstrous begins charging in the direction of where you guys are. And if you're watching on Twitch, we're going to keep going, but that is where we're going to cut it on YouTube for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, be sure to like and subscribe to watch more Kappa get kicked in the face, and we'll see you next week. Say bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.